Square bills to lipless, deep divers to shallow runners. Crankbaits are some of the easiest and most effective lures out there. Every bass angler, whether you're just starting out or been fishing for years, should know how to use them. Oh yeah. Oh buddy. There you go. Caught her on a Guggen flatbanger square bill. Here's the there's the flat side Guggen. Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you all tuning in today. Today I want to talk about a lure that's actually one of my favorite artificial baits and one of the first ones I learned to use, and that's going to be a crankbait. Now the great thing about a crankbait is it's going to work whether you're fishing from the bank, from a boat, or in my case a lot of times from a kayak. The other thing is it's easy to pick up and start using. You don't have to spend a lot of money. A simple swing rod and reel setup is really all you need to get going. So let's talk a little bit about the different types of crankbaits that are out there and when you're going to want to use them. So first up is going to be, and I have an example here, this is a lipless crankbait. The thing about a lipless crankbait is, just like the name says, it's not going to have a lip on it. And other crankbaits we'll talk about, you'll see they're going to have a bill. This one doesn't. It's going to have two treble hooks that you're going to see. And the other thing is, and this is something that most crankbaits are going to have, although not everyone, it's going to have rattles. Okay, you can hear that, little BBs, little rattles inside. What that's going to do for you is that's going to be able to help you, no matter where the fish are from where you cast, it's going to draw those fish to you as you're reeling it in. That rattle is going for you. Now let's talk a little bit about the different types of retrieves you can do. Now I actually had filmed a while back a video where I was going to be doing the same information, but I decided to hold off on that one. But since I'm here now, I'm going to go ahead and share some of that video showing some of the different kind of retrieves that you can do. So let's check this out. Now when it comes to retrieves, you can definitely get away with just chucking and winding. And what that means is essentially just casting your line out, just reeling it in at a steady pace and speed. But the thing about it is, and you'll see it as I'm doing this here, is I like to, one of the retrieves I like to do is I'll go ahead and cast it out, and as I'm reeling it in, I'll give it a little pause now and then. And that just gives it a regular action. And what you'll notice in a lot of these retrieves is you do want to have something irregular. It's not too often when you're watching fish in nature or any kind of sea life or lake life that it's going to be swimming in a straight line. So bass pick up on that. They can tell when something isn't natural. So the main point is always kind of throw something irregular in there when you're doing these retrieves. Next up is what I like to call a yo-yo technique. And when you see this, it'll be pretty self-explanatory. What I'm doing is I'm reeling a little bit, kind of stopping, picking it up. So this is kind of like a yo-yo technique. So here you're going to see I actually start combining techniques. The fact of the matter is, when it comes to retrieving crankbaits, whether it's lipless or pretty much any other ones we're going to talk about, there's really no wrong way to retrieve it. As I said, you can do a straight retrieve where you just throw it out, reel it in, don't have to change any direction or anything. Or you can do the pauses, the yo-yo technique, and then in this case, I'm kind of combining them all together. So don't be afraid to try new things. It's definitely something where you can experiment, find out what the bass like, and start catching them pretty quickly. So enough talk. Let's go ahead and see a quick shot with me catching fish with a lipless crankbait. There's one. Oh yeah. Not huge, but best one of the day so far. Caught that one on this Guggen clutch. It's honestly, I don't remember the color. I'll have to figure it out, find out. I'll let you know. Here it is. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about a square bill. So I have here a couple of examples of a square bill. This is actually the one that when I first started the video here, you saw me catch that good sized bass at Old Settlers Park. So a square bill, just like the name implies, is going to have a bill on it, and you can see from here, of course it's going to be square shaped. Again, you're going to have the rattles, although again everyone isn't. Every crankbait is going to have rattles, but most of them will. The two treble hooks, and here we have another example. This one is actually called a Berkeley Fritz side. This one is technically a square bill, but if you look at that, you see it's a little bit different shape. This is more what is commonly referred to as a coffin bill shape, but still kind of has the same effect and is going to be used the same as a square bill. Now, where would you use a square bill? A lot of times they're going to be great, especially in the spring, around rocky banks. You can also use them anytime you have any kind of structure that you're fishing around. The idea is to get that bill, if you can, get to bounce off structure, because what happens is when it bounces off, it's going to back up, and that's going to cause reaction strike. It's also going to, the good part about this, and this is the thing, especially if you're fishing from the bank, is a lot of these square bills are going to have a rated depth. So as an example, I don't know if you can see this. This one actually has it written on here. This is a Guggen clutch square bill, a flat side square bill. This one is rated up to 6 feet. So that means that in a ideal situation, this bait will go down to 6 feet. So that means fishing from the bank, you don't want to get it caught. You don't want to get it stuck in grass or somewhere where you can't get it out. So knowing how deep you're going to be able to throw that crankbait and retrieve it is going to be really helpful. And then also when you're on the water, if you have an idea how deep the fish are holding, that'll also give you an idea of how deep you want to be able to throw these crankbaits, in this case the square bill. Now, as far as retrieve for the square bill, quite honestly, there's not going to be a whole lot of difference from what we showed you with the crankbait or with the lipless. In fact, to be honest, a lot of these you're going to use pretty much the same type of techniques as you're reeling them in. So there's not going to be a lot of difference there. One difference that you will find though with with square bills versus the lipless is that square bills do tend a lot of times to suspend or even float to the top. So if you have that jerking action that we talked about earlier, you can actually jerk and then pause, and that square bill is going to start rising to the top, rising to the surface. And that's great, especially again if you don't want to get it caught. You're fishing a shallow from the bank or something like that. You don't want to get caught, so that's going to be real helpful in those situations. So I know you've already seen one, but let's go ahead and check out another scene here where I'm catching another bass, and this is on that same trip that I was at in the first scene. Catching another bass on this the Scoot and Clutch square bill crankbait. There's one. Number 2. Not as big as the first one. Still decent though. So finally, we're going to talk about deep divers, and here's an example here. This is a Strike King DT6, I want to say. And this one actually goes down to about 20 to 25 feet. And I have another one. This is a DT10. Now the thing to keep in mind with deep divers, and that's, I don't know if you saw that. The thing to keep in mind with a deep diver is that deep is really going to be relative. And what I mean by that is depending on the body of water you're on, deep water may be only 10 feet. Some places it may be only 8 feet. So when we're talking deep divers, technically we're talking about crankbaits that'll usually go, like I said, in this case, 20 feet or more. But deep, as far as the water you're fishing in, is really going to be dependent on that lake level that you're on. But in any case, that's the kind of the general idea behind the deep divers. And again, the good thing about these is these are going to be rated at certain depths. So depending on what depth you want to fish at, you can pick up a crankbait, a deep diver that's going to go down to that depth, and that's always going to be helpful. These are really good when you have to go deep, especially when you're talking summer. The bass like to hang around deep cover, deep structure, and even the winter. That's another good time to use these. So with that, let's go ahead and check out the scene from my latest trip, and this was out to the Loesch Ranch in Taylor, Texas. In this case, I was using a crankbait that I consider a deep diver. It's a 10-foot diving crankbait, and again, this was actually deep for this particular lake. So let's check this out. They're all about the same size. So there you have it. That's a quick, down and dirty lesson on the kind of a general introduction, I should say, to the crankbaits. Obviously, there's a lot more information that we could dive into, and I may do that at a later date. We could talk about specific types of lipless crankbaits. You can talk about silent crankbaits when those are appropriate, and even get to a little more depth about the type of equipment that you want to use. But again, the thing I want to make sure that is understood is that you don't have to have a certain type of equipment to get started. A low-end budget spinning rod and reel is going to be great. One of the things that when I first really started getting serious about bass fishing and started watching YouTube videos, what would happen a lot of times is I would watch tips and tricks videos, and the person that's given the video is talking a lot about specific rods, reels, fishing line, things like that. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way I can afford that. I'll never be able to do this. don't let cost ever discourage you from starting something that you love. And in this case, we're talking about bass fishing. If all you can afford is that that budget fishing setup from Walmart, that's all it's going to take. The bass don't care what you're using. So anyway, get out there, get your line wet, start using the crankbaits. You're going to have a great time. We'll see you again. God bless you.